How is it possible to open a personal or corporate account inside one of the best banks all over the world 100% remotely in 2025? My name is Matteo Maglia, I'm Partnership Manager in GloboBanks, and a warm welcome in our brand new official YouTube channel. Subscribe to the channel for not losing any new content, and in this video I would like to introduce you who we are, what we do, and how we can help our clients to get access to the best banks all over the world. Basically, GloboBanks is an international company, is the onlyest company in the world that is focused in open international relationships with the best top-tier banks all over the world. Today we work with more than 60 institutions, for example, like JP Chase, Citibank, HSBC, DBS, UBS. We are not focused just in one country, but we work with banks in the Americas, in Europe, in the Middle East, and also in Asia. And we can help our clients open the accounts there 100% remotely. So basically what we do is to help our clients to open personal accounts or corporate accounts for LLCs, LTDs, UAE company, European companies, also for trust and holdings, account in those banks, international banks, 100% remotely without have to go physically in branches, okay? How we can do it? Well, basically because in the last few years our president and our team traveled a lot all over the world to go to meet in person people inside the banks. So we create synergies and a strong partnership with the banks, and today we are official introducers of all the more than 60 banks we are working with. This let us have like a preferred channel where we can introduce our clients there, and we can do everything in an easier way, okay, for our clients. So we can introduce them remotely with less deposits, for example, in less time, and we can manage everything for the customer, so the customer doesn't have to have all the stress to open an account. Maybe you know that today is very hard to open an account, an international account, if you are not resident, for example, in the country where you want to open an account there. Let's make an example. If you want to open a US account for your LLC, it's very hard to open a traditional physical bank in the US without having any connection in the US, because maybe you don't have any address there, you don't have a house, you don't have any investment, and the LLC that you opened is not something that you can use like a connection in the US, okay? Your LLC is useless for bank opening. And then if you want to open a new bank account, for example in the US, you also need a reference letter of another bank institute of the same country. So we go back to the first point, that is like impossible to open an account there, so you can't also have any reference letter. With us, we can let you open an account in the US without being a resident there, without a green card, for example, without having an address, just having, for example, your LLC if you want an account for your LLC, or also a personal account without being a resident in the US, without being a citizen, with any connection of the US, okay? So we are like a bridge, you know, between the client and the bank, and we are going to introduce the client in the bank, and the bank will make all the process to open the account, and our clients will have the account open in a faster way, you know. Other thing we talked about 2 minutes ago is like with lower deposits. Yes, because maybe you know that to open accounts in top-tier banks all over the world, for example in banks in Switzerland or the same JP Chase, or in Singapore, for example, there are some banks that are asking for 1 million deposit, 5 million deposit, and it's something that some people don't want to deposit in a new account, okay? So thank you to our preferred channel, thank you to our introduction, we can make the deposit lower 10 times, okay? So if a bank asks for 1 million deposit, we can open the same account with the same benefits with, for example, just 100K. If a bank asks for $5 million deposit, so we can do, for example, with just $500,000. That is something that our clients love so much, because, you know, we can help them open the account remotely, but also with a lower deposit. That is something very useful, and you can access to the banks in an easier way, you know. So I would like to make you an example, okay? We are talking about US banks and JP Chase. So imagine that you have an LLC in the US and you would like to open a JP Morgan Chase account in the US. You are not resident there, you don't have any address, you don't have any connection in the US. You just are like a European resident, for example in Spain or whenever you like, okay? And you have an LLC and you want to open an account in JP Morgan Chase. What would you have to do without us? So you have to call the bank, okay, and know if they can accept you go there physically. If they say yes, you have to book a flight. You have to spend thousands of dollars for the flight and for the hotel, for stay there, because you have to go physically in a branch, for example, in Miami or in New York, okay, in a branch of JP Morgan Chase. You have to stay there like weeks, you know, because when you go the first time, the bank is going to ask you your documents, more information, etc., but they can't see you just one time. They will ask you to go the second time, third time, fourth time, to make a very good and strong due diligence, you know, to give them more documents, etc., etc. So you have to stay weeks in Miami or New York, for example, okay? You have to spend a lot of time, lot of money, you are far away from home, stress, etc., etc., okay? And when they can accept your application, usually they ask you a very high minimum deposit. Today, the minimum deposit of Chase can be like $400,000, okay? For example, to open the account. Lose a lot of money for the flight. For the hotel, you stayed weeks far away from home and you have to deposit high deposit on the account. And is not sure that they are going to accept you, because maybe they can say you yes, and with the last documents you provide them, maybe they can also decline your application, you know, because you are not referred by no one. You are like a very new customer for them. There was no one that introduced you to the bank, okay? So you are like something very foreign for the bank. So this is the process if you are going to do it alone. In the other way, thank you to us, you could access to the Chase account in a very easier way. Why? Because we can do and manage everything remotely, and this because of what I told you in the beginning of the video. We know people inside the banks. Our president know in person the most important manager in the biggest New York branch of JP Morgan Chase. So we have very strong synergies, we have very strong connections with JP Morgan Chase. So we can open an account for you 100% remotely, and not going all the application process will not going to request like months, but just like days, okay, little weeks, less than a month. So you know you are going to not losing money, not losing time, and also the minimum deposit will be lower, okay? That is something very, very good for you if you want to access, for example, in JP Morgan Chase. And also, if you can open the account alone and you want to access to the credit cards in JP Morgan Chase that are like the most important credit cards in the world, also with the American Express, will be a very hard process if you open an account alone and you have to request the credit card alone. Because of what we said before, you are like a foreign with the bank. But thank you to us, you can open the account in JP Morgan Chase and you can easily request the credit card, okay, in a very easy way and very quickly after a little days that the account was opened. And you will also be assisted by a relationship manager, okay? Thank you to us, all the 60 banks we can open to you remotely will give and provide you a relationship manager that will help you with all the assistance of the account. If you have any issue, doubt, etc., etc., you can just talk with your private relationship manager and you know, resolve all the problems, for example. Okay, this was an example with JP Morgan Chase. We can do the same with, for example, if you want to request a US American Express, okay? We can let our clients to access to the Gold American Express in a remote way, and the credit card will be sent from American Express to your residence home. If you are in Spain, if you are in South America, if you are in the US, if you are in Hong Kong, American Express will send you, okay, the credit card, and we are going to manage everything remotely. We can open account in Switzerland 100% remotely with very lower deposits, for example. In Singapore, the same. We can also open accounts for UAE companies. Maybe you know very well that today there is a very big problem because open offshore companies is very easy. Open bank accounts today is very hard. And if you can open a company, maybe you cannot open a bank account. A lot of people opens companies, for example, in the UAE, in Dubai, and they can't open bank accounts. They spent tens of thousands of dollars to open a Dubai company, and then they can't use it because they don't have any bank account. So we can help them open accounts for UAE company, for example, 100% remotely, okay, without them have to travel in the places, you know, in other countries, etc., etc. We can just help them to open accounts and let them operate with their company, okay? So basically, this is what we do. Today we have an international team that can speak Italian, Spanish, English, Russian, Dutch. If you would like to have more information, you can just see in the description below. You can request for more information. One of our managers will reach you out to help you and understand your needs, to recommend you the best banks that fits, the better fits for you, and help you opening the account 100% remotely with all the benefits that we talked in this video. Also subscribe to the channel because we are going to create very good videos in the next days. So make sure to not lose any of it, and let's see you in the next video. Bye.